Hello and welcome to another Zenphi tutorial. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we're going to be going over how you can create a simple Zenphi flow to be able to automate your Google Calendar events. For this specific example, we're going to be automating the process of whenever an event is added to our Google Calendar with the words lecture in it, we're going to automatically create a Google Calendar event the following day for a review session. So let's go ahead and get started. The first step to any Zenphi flow is to set up your trigger. In Zenphi, the trigger is the action that's going to initiate your flow. There's different triggers that you can choose from. For this example, we're going to be using our timer trigger. This is going to start the flow at a scheduled or reoccurring time, so you can choose to either run once or run every either a couple of days, couple hours, months, years, etc. Here you're able to choose the start time using this little calendar button, and then you can choose how often you want it to run. For this example, I'm going to have it run daily so that every day we can check if in the last 24 hours there has been an event added. Now, the first action or step that we have in our flow is this one called current date and time. What this is going to do is retrieve the current date and time that we were able to check the last 24 hours. So all you have to do here is choose a culture, a time zone, and a format. The format doesn't matter too much since in this case we're just using it to be able to calculate the time. Now, to be able to look 24 hours in the past, what we're going to do is add this action called add date time, and we want to retrieve yesterday's date. So what we're going to do is here in base date, we're going to use the current date and time that we just retrieved. So we're going to click here on this chain icon. What this allows us to do is add dynamic data. You can add data from previous steps. This way it's always going to get the previous date and not just one that we set manually with this button. So if we click here, this is our token picker. It's going to open up this section here, and we're going to click on the result. Now, since we wanted to look at yesterday's date for days, we're going to subtract a day. If you wanted to look at tomorrow's date, for example, it would just be the number 1. And now what we're going to do is see if there has been any events added with the word lecture. To do that, we're going to use the action called search events. First, we have to set up our connection to our Google Calendar. What this is going to do is allow Zenphi to be able to access our events. To do that, you're going to click on the plus icon here to create a new connection. That connection can be private or shared. You can also give it a different name. After you click on authorize, you're going to be able to choose a Google Calendar, so you can choose either from your email, holidays, birthdays, etc. And here you're able to add which text you want to search by. So here, any events that are added with the word lecture I want to be returned to me. Here you can choose to include deleted events, expand recurring events, and you can choose how many events you want to return. In time zone, you can choose one here. I'm going to leave it on auto. And then for start date time, I'm going to choose the results of yesterday's date. That way we're looking at the last 24 hours. So we're going to click on the token picker once again, go to yesterday's date and select the result. Now there may be more than one added, so here what we're going to do is loop through all of the events if there are any. So here we're going to add a for each loop action. And then for the collection, we're going to loop through the results that were returned from the previous action. So again, clicking on the token picker, search events, we're going to add the token for the results. Now, since we want to add an event the day after it was added, what we want to do is use once again the add date time action. For the base date, we're going to use the start date time. So we're going to open up our for each loop, scroll down to the bottom where it says start, click on date time, and we're going to add one day. Here we're leaving it as a positive integer. And then we're going to go ahead and create the event. This action is called create event. So once again, you create your connection to Google Calendar. If it's already there, then you would see it down in the drop-down menu. You would choose a calendar once again, and then here you can choose a subject, a description. So in this case, I'm leaving the summary and the description from the previous event. So here I'm just saying review lecture, review session. You can add different attendees if needed. You can choose what time, if it's an all-day event, for example. In this case, I'm going to turn off this option. I just want it to be 20 minutes, and it would be set at the exact same time, just 24 hours after the previous meeting. And now we can save and test run. So I'm going to go ahead and click start a new instance, click on start. And as we can see here, it found an event and it has created one the day after. So let me go ahead and open my Google Calendar. So as we can see, this is a meeting that I had with the word lecture from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday the 14th. And then this is the one that was added, so it's called Review Lecture, and it was set at the exact same time, 8:30 a.m., and it has a duration of 20 minutes. It ends at 8:50 a.m. And as you can see here, this is the original event for the lecture. This is the description, and it was also passed over to the review session. And as you can see, it's very simple to automate the process of creating Google Calendar events, making sure that you never forget to schedule an event that's needed. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out the description where you're going to find a link to a free demo meeting with our specialized team. There we can go over any questions you have on Zenphi and even help you build your first process. So make sure to check that out if you're interested. And once again, thank you so much for watching.